Okay. Welcome everybody to the Leverage Your Credit for Success webinar. My name is Andrew Golden, and we will be live in about 5 to 6 minutes. So right now, just enjoy these tunes here. Let's play something.
Hit it from the back of my knee.
Hey,
She try and pull vert on my half pipe, Tony Thought. Money flows in my bank account, man, it don't stop. Trying to jug a piss, got stop, screwing shit cop.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the webinar. I encourage you, before we begin, to grab a paper and a pen because, after all, note takers are money makers. So, with that being said, I'd like to all welcome you to the Leverage Your Credit for Success webinar, where I'm going to teach you how to think like a bank so you can be your own bank. Now, this probably sounds just like a really cool tagline, but it really has a lot of meaning behind it, because if you think about it, what you need to do in order to secure funds is learn what the banks are looking for when it comes to you securing six figures in funding. And without that knowledge, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to secure small amounts. And do banks have small amounts of money? No. So what you're trying to do is learning how to secure large capital through your credit. And that's what this webinar is really going to be about. So let's just get right into it. Who am I? Well, my name is Andrew Golden, otherwise known as Bandrew. And, I started my entrepreneurial journey in 2019. I started it because I was, trying to, get out of a bad life. Honestly, I was not in a good place in my life and I needed to get out of it. And I really got addicted to personal development. I became an absolute fiend for that kind of stuff. And through personal development, I ended up finding out how I could make money on my phone. And that was through trading at the time. But, and I did that for quite a while. You can see there's a pretty big gap here. I got into funding around 2022 of September. So it's actually been just a year now. And, it's been an incredible ride, but I've always been very passionate about finances. I've been passionate about investing and trading and crypto and stocks and all this stuff and the way that money works, and just trying to learn and do my best in that field, because really it's not about the money, right? It's not about being able to make so much money and have all this wealth and everything, because of course having wealth is nice and having money is great and everything. But what's really important to me specifically is having the knowledge to be able to execute on when it comes to finances, so that you can have the freedom to do whatever you want to do, doing what you love every single day, unconditionally. Okay. Being able to pursue your passions and having the time to do that and having all the money to do that without worrying about where your next dollar is coming from, because you have the financial literacy to be able to solve that problem before it arises. Right. And, I love to teach people. Okay. I love being able to show people the way. I love being the person and having the conversation with somebody where I can see that this is the moment that they decide to take their finances seriously. That is incredible to me. Okay. That is actually the reason why I do all this. And being able to have that kind of fulfillment just gives me an even more meaningful excitement to why I do what I do. So, when I'm on these webinars, am I an absolute expert in this stuff? Am I a millionaire because of credit and funding? No, I'm not a millionaire actually. And I don't consider myself an expert. Okay. 1 year of experience in the credit and funding space, I don't think really deems me as an expert. Okay. Necessarily. However, I do get people funding as well as work on it for myself every single day. Okay. So when I'm talking about credit and funding, I'm not just talking about something that I know about. This is stuff that I actually know, because I'm putting it to the test and applying this knowledge with my clients every single day. Because personally, I work for a brokerage called ImproveU, and I like to be able to share their knowledge that I've learned from working with them. And being able to put it on a larger platform. And I get tons of leads from them. I'm working with people with their credit, with their business, with their funding every single day. And I've personally done over 100K in funding in the last year that I've done this funding stuff. Anyways, yeah. So, when I say I'm not an expert, is that can't listen to this guy because he's not a millionaire yet. Well, honestly, you probably haven't even started this journey yet, right? And the person who hasn't started doesn't even know how to start. So, I've been on this journey, right? And so I can at least show you how to start and how to get your money right and get your situation right, get in position to get started and how to actually apply that knowledge. So it's an important aspect of it. Of course, obviously you're not going to start out, already being able to get 100K. Most people do not. Okay. You need to get in position for that kind of stuff. And that's what I'm teaching you here. So, knowing all that now, the future for me looks like this. My mission is truly to show others the path of turning credit into cash flow so that they can pursue their passions. Because like I said, I love having that moment where somebody lights up because I can tell that what I just told them makes them want to take their finances seriously. And, a lot of artists, I work with a lot of artists and musicians and talk to a lot of them. A lot of them are my friends. And it's pretty often that they don't understand the concept that, if you want to be a really successful artist or a musician, then you kind of need to get into business too. You need to get into learning how to sell yourself and market your art or your work or whatever it is. And, being able to teach them about that and also be like, hey, dude, you might not need 100,000, but what would 10,000 do for your music career? What would $10,000 do for you? Being able to, and like, how could you turn that into cash flow using your passion, helping spark some creativity in these already inherently creative people in a way that they might not be thinking, which is financially, right? So that's who I am. And that's my mission. And that's why I do what I do. So we're going to talk about the power of OPM. Okay, what the hell is OPM? We're going to be bringing up acronyms and all this jargon and everything. Well, don't worry. I'm going to break it down for you in an easy to understand way. Okay, so you might be saying, by the way, OPM means other people's money. Okay, that's what you're going to hear a lot throughout this seminar, but not only just a seminar, but when you're listening to Instagram gurus, people on YouTube, going to be hearing about, the power of OPM, all this OPM stuff, because rich people love using other people's money instead of their own to create their wealth. Okay. And you might be saying, but Bandrew, isn't credit and debt bad? Like, what the hell, dude? I've been in debt for all my life, and my parents told me to put all my credit cards in the sock drawer and everything. Well, no, actually, there's a difference between leveraged credit, which would be investment debt, and consumer debt. Okay. There's a difference between consumer debt and investment debt. Okay. Now the difference is kind of in the name. It doesn't really need to be explained that much, but here's really what it means. Okay. Investment debt is when you put your credit or loans or whatever funding that you have into a cash flowing asset so that it repays itself over time. That ends up turning itself into free money, especially if you get on the 0% side. And consumer debt is when you get a credit card for 10K and then you go buy a car, or if you decide to, go buy a new computer, or you decide to go do home improvements or whatever it might be, making, it's money that you don't actually have that you're spending because you have access to it, but you don't actually have it. There's a difference, right? Having access to and having, and that's what a lot of people get trapped in, and hence the bad vibes that credit cards get. So why is leveraging credit important for entrepreneurs? Well, I mean, it's if you think about it for even just 5 minutes or 5 seconds, it depends on your acumen to this stuff. But what are the two things that all entrepreneurs need? They need more leads and they need more capital. Okay. That's pretty unanimous, right? I mean, everyone can kind of agree on that as an entrepreneur. It's like we all, no matter how many leads or money that you have, you still want more, right? And so funding through this method is the solution to both of those things. Now, how does it get me leads? What the hell is this coming with 500 new customers for me? Hell no. You can use this money for whatever you want. Heck, you could even buy a car with this money. You could go on vacation with this money if you want. They're not keeping track of the money that you use on your business cards. When it comes to business loans and stuff, it might be a bit different because they're banking on the fact that you're going to be doing this and you're not going to be taking their money. With business credit cards, it's just a regular credit card, but it's just attached to your business. Okay. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about the difference between personal and business credit here in a second. But what I'm trying to say is that when you why is it important for an entrepreneur, right? Because when you have access to capital, you are able to make more money as an entrepreneur. Okay. Like people say that you need money to make money. Well, does it have to be your money? No, it doesn't actually. It doesn't at all. You can use the bank's money, okay, and use the formula that rich people have been using for centuries. Borrow, invest, repay, repeat. Borrow the bank's money, invest it into cash flow, either your business or actual passive income, something that's cash flowing, right? Repay that money through whatever you invested it with, and then repeat the process. And you can do this as many times as you want. Okay. There's a method that looks like this. Okay. Actually, I'll actually explain it after I explain the whole process. Okay. Basically, short version of this is more money equals faster growth equals, actually, let's say this: good credit plus knowledge of funding equals money, which equals faster growth and more open doors for you as an entrepreneur. Why would you want to work like harder when you can use finesse instead of trying harder to make more money to grow your business? Why don't you use the finesse that you have access to get money that you have that you can have access to, and use that? Pretty crazy, right? It's like you can literally do whatever you want with the money. Like this is not new stuff either. We're going to be talking about that. So like I said, rich people have been using this for centuries: borrow, invest, repay, repeat. This is the formula. Okay. Now, using 0% interest lines of credit to grow, or business credit stacking, not just loans. Okay. Loans actually suck, in my opinion. I don't think they're that good. They're good for some circumstances, like if you can't get the credit, but like, most of the time, and also it's just a little bit faster sometimes, but it's not really, because here's the thing about a loan that I don't like. When you get a loan, you get a fixed amount that you instantly have to start paying back with interest right away. Okay. Now, what's the alternative though? Using 0% interest, intro APR, business credit cards. Okay. Now, what you can do with these, well, what it is actually is that all the banks are competing with each other, and they have all these really good intro offers. Okay. And it ranges from 6 to 24 months in 0% interest, which is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Imagine that. Like, imagine it's free money. Like literally for 12 is the average. 12, you have a free money for a year, basically. If you can pay it off, like it's all good. You just materialized 100,000 out of the air. Now, these are intro periods, right? So what happens, the reason why they do this is so that, they're hoping that you get this 0% card, you rack it up because it's 0% interest, the 0% period ends, and now you have to start paying a monstrous amount of interest. Well, you don't necessarily have to do that, because there is a way to extend your 0% indefinitely. And there's also a way to extend it for just a couple more months. If you actually are just trying to pay it off soon, you can call them at the end of your 0% period and be like, hey, so like, I'm not really done paying this off yet. Would you be able to extend this? And I've literally instructed people to do it, and it works. You say, hey, I'm not exactly done yet, and I'm almost done. Would you please be able to extend my 0% period for as long as you will allow it, right? Usually like 30 days or something, or I'm sorry, 90 days. And I had someone go from 12 to 15 months. Incredible. Amazing, right? That's like, dude, you're literally getting free money for a longer period of time. So, we like to use business credit cards, because now here's the difference between business and personal, right? We like to use business cards because when you get a business credit card, let's say you get 100,000 in business credit or business loans or business whatever, it's not going to report to your personal profile. So you can rack it up. You can rack up that $100,000 in credit, and you do not have to worry about it tanking your personal score because of the utilization, because it doesn't show on your personal. You are not your business, and the business is not you. So it's not going to be anything that you need to worry about for your personal score. Whereas on a personal profile, if you get a personal card, you're going to rack that up doing whatever you got to do, and it's going to tank your score because you're using over 30% utilization. So that's just, the reality of it. That's just the reality of it. So here's the deal. it is going to be 10 times more advantageous to always open an LLC before you go for funding and creating banking relationships for your business so that you can secure business credit, because without that, you're not going to be able to do it. And also, this is how I'm going to teach you how to extend your 0% period indefinitely. So let's get into it. Actually, let's get into busting some credit myths. Okay, let's do that. Credit myths busted. Closing cards is good for my score. Okay, no, it is not. And it is also the reason why it's bad for your score is a mystery to most people. But the reason why it's bad for your score is because, one, you're losing your age on your cards, and two, you're losing your credit limits that you have on your cards. So like, let's say you have 3 cards. You have a 10,000, a 10,000, and a 15,000. Okay, and the 15,000 is your oldest card, and the other 2 you just got in the last 24 months, and you're just like, dude, I don't even need all this credit, man. Like, I want to get rid of one of the $10,000 ones. Well, if you close that, now you're going to lose $10,000 off your available credit, and you're going to lose the age that gave you. And what would be even worse is if you decided to close the $15,000 one, because that's more money and it's more age. Like, let's say it was your first credit card ever. It's got 10 years on it or something. Okay. Well, there is a solution to this that a lot of people aren't aware of. You can merge your credit cards. So let's say the 10,000 and the 10,000 are actually, they are from the same bank. Okay. You got them both from Chase. Well, what you can do is you can call Chase and be like, hey, Chase, I don't want this many cards on my account, but I would like to keep the age. So let's move this $10,000 card into the older $10,000 card and merge it into one $20,000 card. Now, what you're doing when you do that is you want to make sure that you're putting the newest one into the oldest one out of the ones that you're merging, so that you can keep the age and you can keep the limit and you can reduce your cards. Boom. Amazing hack. There you go. So it is not really good for your score, because it's really good to have history and it's really good to have high available credit. So another one, my score will be good if I don't have any credit card debt. Well, this is kind of true, actually, but you don't want to never use your cards. You have to use your card at least once within 6 months, once every 6 months, for it to actually get for it to stay open, or else they're just going to close it. And you want to be making payments in your card every single month. And you definitely do not want to not pay bills. That's a horrible decision. But here's the bottom line. Here's the easiest way to do it too. Bottom line is you need to make a payment every single month. There needs to be a little check mark next to the month and the year, whatever. Boom, January, February, March, April, May. Like, boom, you're using your card, you're paying it off. It shows that you're a responsible borrower. Okay. Easiest way to do that, and it might be common sense, but common sense is not common, is put a bill on that card. Okay. Attach your, what we call it, dedicate. It's like your monthly spend, anything that's like your phone, your rent, your car payment, any bills, any groceries that you have that you spend. You already spend that money, so why not incur points for it from your credit cards, and you can get the positive payment history. So attach all that stuff to your cards, pay with your card at the store. Boom, now you get that percentage of cash back, everything. Then what you do is you put that on auto pay. So you connect it to your bank account. Now it gets automatically paid every single month. You don't have to worry about anything. It's so easy. It's so easy. So next thing is, my income affects my credit score. It does not. It has no effect. Okay. It has 0 effect on your credit score at all. Like, they actually might be, they're checking it to see like what's your debt to income ratio, but like, you don't have to actually put your real income. So don't worry about that. It doesn't like actually affect your credit score. It just affects your ability to borrow more. That rhymes. Next thing is, hard inquiries impact your score for 2 years. Okay. Well, here's the thing is, they stay on your credit profile for 2 years, but it does not actually affect your score or your borrowing potential for 2 years. Now, let me actually write something down, because I thought about it. Okay, I just had to write something down here because it was valuable information for the next one. But so anyways, like your borrowing potential will be affected by your inquiries only if they are within the last 6 months. Okay, so you cannot have the rule is that you should not have more than 3 hard inquiries within the last 6 months when you go for borrowing. Now, you can remove your inquiries with a phone call. You don't have to send in no letters. You don't have to wait 30 days. It's easy, people. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right here, right now. And if you want more resources on it, hit me up in the DMs and I'll send that over to you. Basically, what it is you, so let's say you have like 10 inquiries in the last 6 months. Okay. Don't worry about the ones from, 18 months ago. Doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter. Okay. And you're like, dang, dude, I have way more than 3. I'm trying to get rid of these homies. Like, what the heck, man? Okay. Check which bureau you want them removed off of. Get that number for that bureau. Call them and be like, hey, I have no idea where these came from. Like, this is not cool. I need them removed. And also, I was doing my research, and according to the FCRA, then you guys actually have to remove these off of my credit report if I don't know where they came from. And boom, then they're going to remove it. They're going to put it in dispute. Everything's good. Now, the one that is a pain in the ass is TransUnion. They're not really easy to work with, so you kind of have to call a few times. If it doesn't work, then you hang up on that person and you call another person. You call the next rep. Boom, doesn't work, call another one. Boom, doesn't work, call another one. And you just keep calling until there's someone that's actually willing to work with you on this. And then you will absolutely get your inquiries removed. Now, one caveat is that if you try to remove inquiries that are attached to an open account on your profile, chances are, big chance, is that you're going to actually get those removed. Like the card will be canceled because we're like, oh, it's fraud anyways. So like then the card will be canceled and the inquiry will be removed. It's like you just destroyed yourself. Like that sucks. So don't do that, but only do it for ones that got denied inquiries. Okay. That's all it is. Also, you can do it with your business inquiries, because if you do it for your business inquiries, that's not showing up on your personal profile. So they don't see that. So they're like, oh yeah, it's fake. Okay. We'll remove it for you. It doesn't say on the thing, the inquiry, that it's a business inquiry at all. It doesn't. So you're good on that. Okay. Next one is your bankruptcy cannot be removed. False. You can remove it with credit repair. Okay. You can totally remove it. Now, you do have to wait until the bankruptcy settles and like it's all finished and everything. But then after that, it takes like a month or two or whatever, you're done. You're good. You can remove it. It takes about a year to do so. It's a long process, but it can be done. Okay. And the last thing here is that the only thing that matters is my score. All right. This is absolutely so false. And this is annoying when I have to, well, it's not annoying when I have to teach it to people, but it's annoying when they think that they know everything because they have an 800 score or a 720 score. Well, you can have a 720 score with one credit card that's made good payments. You can have an 800 score where you have like just a few credit cards that's made good payments. That doesn't mean that you have a great credit profile. Okay. What the banks are actually looking at is your credit profile. Okay. The thing that really matters is not just your score. Your score is just an average of data points turned into a number that reflects your credit score. And what actually matters is the things that make up those data points, which is in your profile, which is all of your credit history, how much utilization you have, the limits that you have on your accounts, the ages of your accounts. If you've ever had late payments, how many inquiries do you have? That's what makes up your entire profile. So you can have a good score, but kind of a thin or just like garbage profile. And you could also have like a 680, but have an incredible profile. So what really makes up those higher scores is age on credit limits. Having like age on your cards and high credit limits is what makes a really high score. So that's what it is. So sexy credit, sexy life. All right. We love sexy credit. Okay. What does sexy credit mean and how does it impact my lending potential? Great question, Andrew. Let me answer that for you. Well, anyways, sexy credit means being in position to be able to get funding. Okay. Being in position, having your credit profile positioned correctly so that you can be successful when you are trying to go for business funding. Okay. And there are definitely criteria to make your credit looking sexy. Okay. It's nothing to be light about. Okay. This is very serious when you go for funding, because you do not want to walk in the bank and make yourself look like a fool with your trash credit or your average score. Okay. Or your average profile. Okay. Because they're not going to approve you. And if they do approve you, then you're going to get small limits. And who wants to use a $2,000 credit card? Not me. Okay. What makes a good credit score? Okay. First of all, the actual score itself will be, if it meets all these requirements, it will be 680 plus, guaranteed. Okay. At least 5 to 10 accounts. And I'm going to even say 7 to 10 accounts, actually, but minimum is 5 for sure. But we've seen better results between 7 and 10. A good account mix. And I mean accounts as in open accounts, 5 to 10 open accounts, because you're going to have plenty of closed accounts. Open accounts, 5 to 10. Good account mix. Okay. A mix is between, your loans, your credit. You can have a mortgage, auto loan. This is not necessarily required to have amazing credit, but it does help a lot, especially when you're going for large amounts of funding. Okay. Less than 3 new accounts in the last 6 months. Okay. So this is a big deal. If you just went on a spree of getting credit cards for your personal profile, well, you're in for a surprise when they deny you for the 4th or the 5th one. So check it out. I mean, like, if you go for all of these new credit cards, they're going to be like, why do you need all these cards? It's going to be seen as like this urgent thing where you're just like scrambling to get money. And they don't really like that, because your whole score exists as a gauge to see how risky you are of a person to borrow money or lend money to, because banks have to protect themselves. They need to protect themselves in, not losing money, or else they're just going to be, lending money to thousands of people and just freaking draining the pot, like it's gonna be bad for them if they don't have some sort of gauge. And that's what your score is. So that's why this is an important thing. So having less than 3 new accounts in the last 6 months, there are certain banking rules called the 524 rule and the 318 rule. Chase is 318, Bank of America is 524. So it makes a lot of sense. It's 5 cards in the last 24 months. Can't have more. And Chase is the 318, 3 cards in the last 18 months. Can't have that. So it's really kind of strict. It is strict. Chase is really strict about it. Bank of America, not so much. Next thing is pay your bills on time. Obviously, no lates or derogatories. Okay. Late payments your payment history makes up 35% of your score, which is absolutely the most out of every other factor in your credit profile. So this is the most important thing. 100%. It's going to impact your score like crazy if you get one late payment. It's going to suck. So don't do it. Next thing will be pay all your bills on time. No lates or derogatories. Oh, I already said that. Keep your inquiries low. All right. What is an inquiry? An inquiry is when your credit gets impacted or a little ding happens because somebody looked at your credit and they looked deep in there. They did a full colonoscopy on your credit and they were like, hey, what's going on in here? Let me check in on you. And that's called a hard inquiry. And then a soft inquiry is when they just barely they just peek behind the curtain a little bit. And they just want to see what you got going on in terms of your score and how many accounts you have and stuff. So yeah. And one thing too on this is when you get pre-approved offers, pre-approved does not mean approved. Okay. Pre-approved does not mean approved, because a pre-approval happens on a soft pull. And then if they go on your hard inquiry and they see that you don't have that sexy of a credit, then you're not going to get approved. So don't always be deceived by that. Another one is keep your utilization under 20% on all your cards. The sweet spot, the maximum, not the sweet spot, but the very, very max you can have it at is 30%, but just keep it under 30% or 20%. Okay. Because that's going to be great if you're going for funding. So that's what you need. That's what you want. This is the ideal. Okay. And I'm actually going to change that 5 to a 7 because that's facts. This is the ideal for what you need when you have sexy credit. So the process, what does the process look like when you're trying to get business funding? Okay. Well, here's the process. Okay. Get your credit looking sexy. Okay. Everything we just talked about, 680 plus, and then start an LLC. Okay. And I can provide you details on how to do that for very cheap. There's a very easy way to do it through inkfile.com. through just getting their base package where you only have to pay your state filing fee, and then you go apply for your EIN number, and it costs you less than $200 to do that, likely under $100 depending on the state that you live in. I actually should get rid of the virtual address thing. You don't actually need a virtual address anymore. It's not really a thing. But then the next thing, then the most important thing for the LLC setup is be aware of your business name in the industry that you say that your business is in. Okay. You always want to have something general for your business name. Okay. The reason why is because there are certain industries that are bad, such as guns, porn, trading, investing, real estate, finance, crypto, the worst. Just anything that's like about money or something that's NSFW or violence or anything like that. Another one that you might not think of is restaurants and trucking. Okay. Because of COVID, those two industries got tanked in terms of their trustingness with the banks. Okay. So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is, if your last name is Thompson, you need it to be Thompson Enterprises or Thompson Incorporated or Thompson Ventures, Thompson Industries. Random, totally random. Like they have no idea what you're doing, right? Or you could be like, my LLC's name is Andrew Golden's LLC. Okay. And like, that's going to be your LLC. So be aware of your name. And then when you're doing your EIN, make it a consulting EIN number. Okay. Get business checking accounts with big once you have this all set up, once you have Sexy Credit and you got your LLC set up, you can even get your LLC set up before you have Sexy Credit. That doesn't really matter. So after that, once you have your LLC, get your business checking accounts with big banks. Okay, we're talking about Chase, Bank of America, US Bank, PNC, Key Bank, even some credit unions you can do. Any bank that is in your area that is like, a big established bank. Okay. These are the good banks to get relationships with. What you can do is you can go on bankbranchlocator.com and you can find all the banks in your area to figure out which one is going to be the best. Okay. And then establish relationships to increase your bankability. Okay. Now what that means is, once you have a checking account with them, does that automatically mean that you qualify for 100K? Not necessarily. It does increase your chances, but here's what you need to do. Okay. You need to get, okay. So you need to make that bank account. Okay. And you need to deposit $500 into that bank account, minimum 500 to 1,000. The best, rule of thumb for that is the more, the better. Okay. Put in a couple thousand if you're balling like that. Okay. This and let it sit in the account. Even if you can like put more money in, like every week or something, or every month, put $100 into the account. This will be really, really good and really, really sexy to the banks. And they're going to be groveling at your feet when you ask for money. So, and you want to wait at least 60 days. I mean, like you can wait 60 days and that's going to be the best, but you don't have to. You can literally wait 2 days and then go do it. But like, I wouldn't do that myself, but you can. And this increases your bankability score. So your bankability score is, it's like the industry name for it. I don't really think it's the official name, but basically all banks have an internal scoring system for how risky you are. So they look at your credit score first, and then they look at the bankability. They look at the history of you with that bank. It's basically just a history, like a little log of your history with the bank that you're applying with. And that's essentially it. And once they do that, then they actually can determine like, oh, has they ever had an account with us and overdrafted a bunch? Like, did they have a credit card and have a bunch of late payments? That kind of stuff. So of course, having a high bankability score really depends on your payment history and your reliability with that bank. So then what you want to do once you have 1 through 3 completed, and this is important because a lot of people, they'll get their credit ready and they'll be like, yes, I'm ready. Time to make an LLC. And they get their LLC ready and they get their bank accounts. And by the time they are ready to get the actual credit cards, their credit is like jacked up again because it's been 3 months since they got everything set up. And this is like classic example of just pure failure at this. Like you should honestly be checking you should have a subscription to like Experian or MyFICO, not Credit Karma. Credit Karma is straight trash because it's Vantage 3. We don't have to get into all that. Vantage 3 scoring and FICO 8 scoring are 2 different scoring models. And FICO 8 is what all the lenders use. So don't use Credit Karma. It's not very good. Okay. And then Yeah, so they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go, and then they apply for the cards, and they're like, denied. What happened? What? Oh, my credit was so good. And then they look at the credit, and like they see that their utilization was up. They see that like all this stuff was happening with their credit while they were getting their LSCs, and they're just upset now because now they have to wait 90 days in order for them to be able to apply with those banks again. And yeah, it is 90 days. There's actually different for some banks, but like it's mostly 90 days. I would wait that time anyways and just get your credit in check. Okay. Now, once you get that card, you can call in and ask for a 3x increase. Okay. You can call in to a special line and you can ask for an increase on that card. Okay. And then what you do, and like literally, if you got denied, call them and be like, hey, can you approve it? I know I meet the requirements. Can you please approve it? Like, I'd love to use this card, blah, blah, blah. And then you call in and you remove those inquiries. Okay. Call the bureaus and be like, hey, I don't know where all these inquiries came from. What the heck's going on here? Again, like, oh, I just talked to you 2 weeks ago. What's going on? What the heck? Yeah. They know that this is like a game and they're not going to want to do it. They're not going to want to like approve you for all these inquiry removals if you keep like, it's not about keeping calling. Like they don't really keep a log of that, but you do need to like talk to different people because some people will be more chill than others. Okay. And just remove all your inquiries and then repeat the process. And this is what I was talking about earlier with being able to have 0% interest cards indefinitely, because let me paint a picture for you. Okay. You get your LLC, you get your bank accounts, you get your cards. You have 12 months on those cards. You rack it up to 100K. You spend all the money, you max it out. Okay. It's month 11 and you're like, okay, I got to figure this out. I'm about to start accruing tons of interest. Okay. Get another LLC, get more bank accounts, put more money in, and also keep your credit looking sexy. Make sure it's still sexy. And with that new LLC, apply for the same business cards. And then you liquidate those business cards, the new ones, and you pay off the old cards. Boom. Now you've just transferred your balance from the old cards to the new 0% cards. And now you have another 12 months. And guess what? It's a never ending thing. You could just keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Isn't that amazing? Right? It's just incredible what you can do with this information. And like, you can literally get $500,000 in like less than 2 years, literally less than 2 years, $500,000 in credit. And imagine that, like, you're an entrepreneur and something comes up in your business, boom, it's covered. Maybe you didn't want to use credit, but you have a solution. Okay. An amazing investment opportunity comes up out of the blue. Boom, you invest in it because you have the money to do it. And now think about your negotiating powers and deals as well. It's like you have, instead of $10,000, you have $100,000 to negotiate with and play with when it comes to, upgrading yourself through negotiation for your business. So yeah. Now, creating cash flow with this, there's a lot of ways to do it, right? There's so many different ways you can do it. There's get creative, right? You could start flipping cars, you could start flipping shoes, doing e-commerce, all this stuff to try and use this money to make money. And I only suggest using this money to make money. You should not be using this money, disclaimer, to pay anything off. Not smart. Okay. I should probably put a disclaimer right in the beginning of this seminar. Okay. The most obvious way to use business credit to make money is to create a product or service and scale. But there's lots of potential for passive income. Okay. Clearly, there's a lot of different ways you can do this besides just making a business. Okay. You can invest in real estate. You could buy property with this. Okay. And cash flow and then pay it off. You could start trading. And I don't really recommend this, but I've seen people do it where they buy prop accounts or they invest into, they liquidate the credit into cash and they buy crypto. Okay. People have done that. I've helped people get funding for that. You can do e-commerce automation or other automated businesses. You could do a business acquisition where you can buy someone else's business, like a restaurant or an e-commerce brand or a window cleaning business, and you can buy their business and you can, boom, freaking, you're just balling after that. You're operating their business and so much more, right? Just get creative. Okay. There's so many different ways you could do this. Honestly, I used to think that the way to get rich when I first found this out was to use this money to buy passive income things and just try to get rich like that. But honestly, my personal preference, I talk about passive income and everything, but I will first be using credit to grow my own business because I want something that I can have a foundation with. I don't really want to trust, let's say, for example, you put $100,000 into a passive income vehicle and that passive income vehicle stops paying out. Well, what the heck do you do now? That sucks. And also, like, what do you have to pay on those cards normally? Usually it's 1% of your utilized balance. So like $100,000, you pay $1,000 a month. It's doable, but still, like, what if something happens? Like, it's just, you just never know. So I don't really recommend doing that, but I recommend that if you are going to do this, you start to take action on that business that you have or that you've always wanted to create, because now you've got capital to do it. You got no freaking excuses. Okay. Now, all of this is great. This information is super, super useful, right? But what if you're still not confident? Okay. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot that you still may not know. Actually, I know for a fact that you don't know everything just based off of this webinar, right? Like, this is the basics. Okay. Now, you can absolutely do exactly what I just said and actually be pretty successful. But if you want the large amounts, if you want the 100,000, or if you are like, dude, this is time consuming as hell. Like, I don't got the time to do this. I don't even want to, like, I don't feel confident doing it. I'm a freaking busy business owner. And also, I just would rather have someone else do this for me. Well, good news is that's literally what I do for a living. So the reason why I know all this stuff, like I said in the beginning, is because I'm a funding advisor for an online brokerage called ImproveU. And basically what we do is we help people get business funding through business credit and business term loans and all different types of funding. We can work with the SBA. We can do all that stuff. And, we also, the main reason is that not only do we have the knowledge of what the banks are looking for when you need 6 figures in funding, but we have relationships with top banks. Okay. We have a relationship with Chase, Bank of America, Amex, bunch of other banks. Okay. And we're able to leverage those relationships to get you higher limits than what you'd be able to get approved on your own. Now, what's our criteria? Oh, and also, I'll get to the fee in a minute, but like, our criteria is a 680 score. Okay. 650 for non-0%, 5 accounts minimum, under 30% on all cards, no late payments for derogatories in the last 2 years, no derogatories. Account age needs to be at least 3 years old. I'm going to change that. No more than 3 inquiries in the last 6 months. At least 1,500 in total limits, but we want to ideally get you up to 10,000. If these are not met, then we will help you get there. Okay. There's no upfront costs for any of this. Okay. The way that we operate, and this is the best part about this. Okay. When you work with me for funding, we're basically going to be partnering. Okay. And because I'm not taking any upfront cost, I'm working with you hand in hand, one-on-one, to be able to secure you all the results that you want, and until you get the results that you want. And, if these requirements are not met when you first come to me, that's okay. Like, I'm not just going to be like, oh, instantly disqualified. Sorry. Like, no, I'm going to be saying, okay, well, let's look at your credit and let's figure out a plan to get you to where you need to be. Because, hey, okay, so the fee system is like this. There's no upfront cost, right? So how do we make money? Well, we take 10% of whatever you get funded with. Okay, so if you make $50,000 in funding, we invoice you for $5,000 and you're on your way. Okay, that's how it works. It's a 10% success fee after you get the funding, so that you can pay with the funds that you get. That's how you pay us. You pay us with the funds that you get. There's nothing out of your pocket. It's incredible. Now, think about that. Okay, what I just told you is I make more money when I get you more money. Okay, so I've got bills to pay too. I've got, my mouth to feed at least. I got rent to pay. And I know about this. I know this stuff. Okay. Like, I can get you the results you're looking for. And like, that's literally my goal, is to work with you until you get the results you're looking for, get you as much as possible so that we can both eat and we can all be happy and we can all grow together. So the next thing is, like, if you have bad credit, is there credit repair? Hell yeah, there's credit repair. And like, credit repair is not our front end offer. It's not really our main thing. So if you are doing credit repair with somebody else, or you want to do credit repair with somebody else, go ahead. I literally have no hard feelings at all if you want to do that. We absolutely don't care. But we have cleaned over 1,000 reports, and we know what we're doing when it comes to credit repair. We can remove anything guaranteed. Late pays, derogatories, bank statements, bankruptcies, everything we can remove. Okay. So don't worry about anything that's on your credit report, because it can be removed for a cheap price of $197 a month. And you usually will start seeing results around the 3rd month. the first 2 months are dry because we have to like talk to the bureaus and everything, but it's usually a process of 3 to 6 to 9 months. Okay. And like, it kind of sucks, but like, hey, this is what it takes to get to where you want to be. You should probably do it. All right. So conclusion is working with me is not just an educational journey. It is that's the opposite of what I wanted to say. Working with me is an educational journey, not just a transactional relationship. Okay. It is literally going to be, so when you're working with me, the more that you know about the process, the more successful that we will both be in the process. Okay. Like the better the results will be. And honestly, there's so much information that you can learn throughout this process that you will be able to take this information and use it forever, indefinitely. Okay. And this is like the best thing about this is that you have access to me when we're working together on the phone. Ask me whatever you want. Like once we're working together, I'm very like lax with the information. There's obviously some things that I can't really say because we do have to have some kind of leverage as a broker, but I'm not going to be just saying like, don't worry, man, you're going to be good. You're going to be good. Don't worry. Like I'll take care of everything. It's all good. I'll explain it all to you. It's all good. And then I'll break it down, all the jargon and everything in an easy to understand way, which is the most important part. So the second thing is, do you know someone who could benefit from funding? Okay. Do you know anybody? Maybe you can't do this, or maybe you're super excited to do this and you're ready to go. But do you also know other people who might be qualified or might be really, really action oriented, who are ready to freaking go with this? Okay. Well, good news if you do, because if you bring me a client that does get funded, we reward people for bringing us business. I will pay you 1% of whatever they get funded with. So we'll get you paid for bringing us business, which is freaking awesome. So if they make 100,000, you get $1,000 just for sending me a lead. How awesome is that? FAQ is, does my business need to be making money? No, it does not. You only will be doing this through personal guarantee, which is your personal score. And that's how they're going to be basing your credit. You don't need to be making money with your business. It could be a business that was made yesterday or last night or whatever, or tomorrow. And can I secure funding without a business? Yes, but I don't really recommend it, as for the same reasons that we discussed earlier with the differences between personal and business credit. Because if you want to do something like scaling a business, you definitely want to get all of that debt that you're going to put on off of your personal name. Now, what if I have bad credit? What if I got late pays and derogatories? Yeah, well, we can take care of all that. It's all good. Credit repair. And what's the time frame? Okay, the time frame is, who knows, until you get your you need to get your credit repair, you need to get your credit score up. Okay, you need to get your credit looking sexy, and that can take a while. Optimizing your credit is not an overnight process, but let's say in a perfect world that you do have sexy credit and you're ready to go. Well, as soon as you are ready to go, then it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks to get funded after that. And that's if you're trying to get all the money that you possibly can. If you just want like a couple thousand, if you want like, 20,000 or something, we could get it to you probably within a week or two. But 2 to 3 weeks if you want the most possible. So that's pretty much it. I don't think that there's anybody watching. I don't think so at the moment. So there's no one in the Zoom. On Twitter, I don't see anybody. So Q&A, not valid at the moment. But at Bandrew Golden on all social platforms, follow me for more information on this. Follow me so you can talk to me if you would have questions. If you're watching the replay of this, I really appreciate it. And yeah. There you go. Bandrew Golden on Instagram, Twitter. Twitter is where I'm the most active at the moment. Also on YouTube. I'm also on Facebook, but don't really follow me on there. And what else? Yeah. And also BeReal. I like BeReal a lot. Anyways, guys, that is it. That is the Leverage Your Credit for Success webinar. My name is Andrew Golden, and I will see you next Wednesday. Okay. This is going to be a every Wednesday type deal, maybe every Thursday. Still kind of fleshing it out, but for now it is going to be Wednesdays. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.